Okay, so live stream is on.
All right, and I'm going to check to make sure that we've got. Oh yeah, no, we're out there live to the world right now. Let's go ahead and admit people, and um, I guess get on with the show, right?
There we go. Yeah, now everybody's coming in.
So we'll have a couple people probably come in here, but we usually get more people that end up watching live. Um,
Or live
and
streaming. Yeah.
yeah, we've fortunately had gotten some good, you know, following on that. So first, I'd like to say I'm Thomas Hall, Executive Director of CleanStart, and this is our CleanStart Perspective, where we talk with people in the community around clean tech, around basically opportunities and ways that we're seeing the energy transition happen and play out here in Sacramento. Now, CleanStart Perspectives are sponsored by the CMC, SMUD, Fresno State, River City Bank, Bloom, and Chico Start. All of them have been supportive of Clean Start and growing us in the region and clean tech companies helping them. And additionally, something I'm really excited about and I want to just kind of start off with is next week we have our clean tech progress report coming out on the 30th. And that is brought to you by additional sponsors of Witten Law, Eco Alpha, and HumanBulb, who's actually our guest today. So we're excited to add them to the community of people that are helping build the region as a clean tech hub. And I think you're going to be excited about the activity that they're bringing and putting on here. So I would like to welcome our guest today, Charlotte, co-founder of HumanBulb. They're working in the community to help entrepreneurs grow and accelerate here. She has a long history working with businesses in the legal field and has decided now that she wants to devote her time to helping people in entrepreneurship, STEM, development, and really basically do something that Clean Start really admires, which is make sure that we harness the energy transition to make a real difference in people's lives and make a real difference in the communities that we're in. So with that, I'm going to welcome Charlotte to start presenting and talking about Human Bulb, and then we'll have a discussion with her.
Perfect. Hi. Thank you so much for having me here. We really appreciate the partnership with Clean Start and have I've always admired what you've been doing here. So it's really quite an honor to be able to participate in that and partner. I will go ahead and share my slides just to let you know kind of a little bit of what we're doing. So as Thomas mentioned, HumanBulb is we're a nonprofit organization that focuses on innovation, acceleration, innovation, entrepreneurship, education, and accelerator programs. Our programs range from teaching high school students about innovation, entrepreneurship, to professionals on all the way up to founders as well. And so today, though, I want to focus specifically on our accelerator program, but please go take a look at what we do, all of what we do at humanbulb.org. Wanted to talk about our accelerator program that's starting the week of July 15th. It's a 10-week program, no cost. It's funded by the city of Sacramento. And wanted to talk about more specifically what makes our program a little different than the other accelerator programs that are in the region. Everyone, of course, is doing an amazing job of building this ecosystem. And it's really just a matter of right now, founders or potential founders have a lot of options in what they're choosing, which program to choose. And so just looking around and making sure you pick one that fits sort of the best fit for you, that works for what you're trying to achieve. And so I wanted to start out with that. And I think there really are several things that make our program different. The level of pitching expertise we have is one, and I'll go through that a little bit more. Access to networks outside of Sacramento is another one. Startup World Cup, which I'll talk more in depth about. As part of this program, you have an advantage or an extra you get extra consideration for being chosen as a finalist in the Sacramento Startup World Cup. And we'll talk about that a little bit more in detail. And our whole program really has a global perspective throughout it, which is something that makes it unique. We also do intensive sales training. I'll talk about that. And you get a $4,000 business law services free as part of this accelerator program as you participate. So our program is actually located at our office where we will be, Midtown Ice Blocks facility. So this is where all of the programs are going to be held, and where the minimum sort of is 2 hours a week to come do our programs. But if you want to, we want you to succeed. So if you want to come sit with us 40 hours a week for that 10-week period, or 60, we're there. We'll want to make sure that you're getting all the support that you can, and that you really maximize that 10-week time period to really build something amazing. So in terms of what makes us different in terms of the level of pitching expertise and our access to markets outside of Sacramento as well, wanted to just highlight some things from my background. So you know, as Thomas just mentioned, I've been an attorney for over 25 years. So I'm a Berkeley undergrad in economics and political science, and a Stanford Law School graduate, and have been working specifically with tech companies and startups in Silicon Valley, or international companies also that have planted in Silicon Valley for that 25-year time period. At this point, I have heard and evaluated thousands and thousands of pitches from companies from different all over the US and internationally as well. I was always one of these people that, yes, I did law during those 25 years, but I've never been able to just do one thing. So I was also continuously through the last 20 years, also running nonprofit organizations in Silicon Valley. And so I have 20 years of experience doing that. I would typically hold anywhere from 30 to 40 innovation events and accelerator events on the latest technologies in Silicon Valley during that time period, and did collaborations with Berkeley and Stanford then as well, including tons of other collaborations with Silicon Valley organizations. I've been a MIT Technology Review, what do you say, someone who nominates people for the 30 under 30. I also was part of starting the, we call it EuroChem for short. There's 13 bilateral European American business organizations that we consolidated into this umbrella organization to promote collaboration, because I'm a big believer in collaboration and getting that to move forward. I was also part of the team that started EIT, Silicon Valley's hub. And if you don't know what EIT is, it is actually the European Union's vessel for public-private partnership. And so they wanted to have a presence in Silicon Valley to sort of have their finger on the pulse, so to speak. And so I was part of doing that. So all of that sort of expertise and 25 years of connections, both in Silicon Valley and other parts of the US and other ecosystems throughout Europe in particular, is something that we're bringing to this accelerator program. So as I mentioned, Startup World Cup is one of the benefits of going through this accelerator program. We've run it now 2 times in Sacramento. This is a global competition that has over 70 regional competitions throughout the world. It's the largest startup competition in the world. And you win at the regional level, and then you go on. There's a grand finale. This year it's in October, where the prize is $1 million investment prize. And so I have been running this program, competition started in 2017, and I've been part of running regional event programs for them since 2018. And the last 2 years, the Sacramento winner that we've gotten on there has that both of them actually placed in the top 10 of the global grand finale. So we're looking to get more strong competitors into this competition, both as a way of getting international exposure. Even if you don't win, you get to meet. There are over 330 or so investors who come to this global grand finale. And so in addition to the local competition that happens here, where the startups will get exposure to the local ecosystem and investors. The global grand finale is one where they can continue to build their networks. And so everyone who participates in our accelerator is actually coming to this event with us, whether you're a winner or not in this, so that we can make introductions throughout that process to really help expand the network of the community here, but also to show, so they really get a wide view of what the best and brightest companies from around the world are doing. So it's an inspiring event that way. And so this will be a central part of what we're doing. Here's an example sort of some of the speakers who've been part of that. I started off with this slide because it's the people everyone knows from TV. A lot of the Shark Tank participants have been part of this program. You also have everything from Apple's co-founder, Steve Wozniak, Netflix founder, Siri founder, former COO and president of Oracle. You've got Reid Hoffman from LinkedIn. So you can kind of see this list here. So it's a level of prestige that's really cool. So we have actually run competitions in a variety of different areas. This photo here is from one we did last month, Orange County and LA Regional at UCIBL Applied Innovation. A lot of these companies actually were ones that went through an accelerator program that we did down there with a partner organization called Grid 110. And you'll see the level of diversity in these applicants is amazing as well. And that's part of what we've been doing with our program. This was Sacramento's last year. This is one we held in Finland. We've done Finland. This is Gothenburg, Sweden. We've done Stockholm as well. This is one in Latvia. We're doing Lithuania on Tuesday, actually, in less than a week. This was Salt Lake City's. Mark Zuckerberg was a speaker at this one. And this was last year's Capital Factory one in Austin. We've done Dallas, Austin, and we're doing Houston this year specifically for the clean tech aspects and building stronger networks and connections through there. And so we have strong connections in each of these ecosystems that we've worked in previously. And we really believe that sort of connecting Sacramento better and connecting our founders better is the key to really expanding growth, both for bringing companies from there over into Sacramento so they know we exist and putting us on the map, but also in terms of resources for our founders and connections here locally. It helps to have connections beyond just Sacramento and building their businesses. Another thing that really makes us unique is the global perspective that we have throughout our program. And I know a lot of people think, well, I don't know why that matters because I'm in Sacramento. Most companies that start in the US, they're staying in the US. Why does this matter? And I'm going to explain this very carefully here. So if you're just looking at Sacramento and your competitors in Sacramento, you don't have a full understanding of what the marketplace is like, especially as the world becomes more and more global. So when we do our sort of deep dive in problem solving and figuring out your problem, we're not just looking at what exists in Sacramento or what exists in Silicon Valley. We're looking at what happens, what companies are being started all over the world that relate to this. And with clean tech in particular, there are a lot of the Nordics, for example, have a lot of areas where they're actually leading the US. And so, but it makes you actually start from day one thinking about what is my competitive advantage. You have to think more clearly about what makes you different. And I can give a brief example without naming any names, but I had recently a company in Sacramento that says, oh, nobody's doing this in this space. And I didn't have the heart to tell him that, well, you know what, we got applications for this at our Orange County Startup World Cup, got one from Lithuania as well, and it's the exact same context and the exact same thing happening. So it is important to really have a broader view of what you're doing, because there's a lot usually happening at the same time. There's a funding advantage to it too, even if you're never going to leave the US or planning to. And that is the fact that when venture capitalists are looking at your company, they're aware of all of the opportunities kind of happening around the world. So just like what I just said with that that company that sort of came up and had like this new idea that they're really working on and think they're the first who are going to do it. Well, venture capitalists are hearing all these pitches from all over the place as well. So they know the full landscape. So you need to have an understanding of the full landscape really in order to make sure that you are different. And the other thing is, when you have a global perspective, you're starting off with scalability as a concept and core in everything that you're doing from day one. And I'd actually like to point out Stockholm, Sweden as an example of this, because I hear a lot here where people are sort of comparing us to, oh, well, we'll be St. Louis or, you know, other cities in the US. And Stockholm is the same size as Sacramento, and the general geographic or greater Sacramento area and the greater Stockholm metropolitan area are the same size. Stockholm is number 2 per capita and the number of unicorns created per year, right after Silicon Valley. So Silicon Valley and then Stockholm, Sweden, which is our size. And so it is possible for us to be doing that, and we should be looking at models and ways of doing it that really are, I think we need to think bigger, I guess is the point of what I'm trying to say. But what makes those companies unique is because they have a small market, they are thinking global from day one. And I think that is actually one of the key factors to why their companies have been able to grow and scale so quickly, and why they've been able to have that ecosystem grow as quickly as they have. So a lot of that knowledge sharing and information on how that's done is sort of incorporated into this program. And so we're having you think that way: scalability of your product, your market, your management team. Even if we know that at the very beginning, when you're going from 0 to 1, you're going to be doing a lot of things that don't scale in order to make this happen. But you need to have the broader view of how it's going to be scalable in order to really create an effective company, because it's easier to do that at the beginning than trying to sort of shift and make things happen later. I see a lot of in companies here we've gotten probably close to 400 applications throughout the past few years from companies here in Sacramento. And one of the most common things that I'm seeing is for the Startup World Cup competitions, I should clarify. And one of the most common things that I'm seeing in those applications is some of them have amazing ideas. A lot of them do. And the issue is I see kind of mixed business model scale. So part of the business model is scalable and then other parts aren't. And so we're kind of, which of course, when a venture capitalist has a ton of options and what they can choose from, they're going to pick the company that sort of has a clean, ready to go kind of plan. And so that's why we think that's so important too, is that consistency of getting it done from the beginning, getting the groundwork laid right. We're also putting in part of this because we have, a lot of technical founders, and one of the things that we hear a lot is really that on the ground, not understanding exactly how sales work. So my co-founder has actually been in sales for the last 30 years in tech, telecom, and manufacturing. And so, and we have a whole network of people who are kind of part of this, that they're going to get really intensive sales training so that they understand different sort of sales models, how to actually implement it and get this sales structure down as well in a way that it is scalable. We want our companies to be ready to go out the door, have everything that they need. So as part of this, so my company is providing $4,000 of business law services to make sure they have everything from their funding agreements or contracts that they need, whatever it is through that process, from business law to employment law and things that we do. Again, Stanford Law grad, been doing this for 25 years. I don't just want to tell people kind of the concept. I want to make sure that when they leave our program, they are ready to really go, to build, to scale. And so thought that was an essential part of this. So what are we looking for in people who are applying here? So one thing is we're doing these applications they're open right now. We're doing it on a rolling basis because we want to sort of, as we see the companies that we think would be a great fit, we want to sort of get them on board. We are covering clean tech, clean economy, food and beverage manufacturing, mobility and ag tech, and honestly, any other cool company that we see that we think really has a scalable potential. And but what we're looking for more than anything is in the founder themselves. So we want someone with tenacity, because that's required, resilience, coachability, and curiosity. So we are definitely willing to kind of take a bet on someone who just has a notebook full of ideas, and we get to see their ideas and we see like, okay, this one's got something, and then they show sort of that they have these characteristics which are needed to get the company going. We're also taking companies that are already established and that really want to scale. We'll kind of be doing a scaffolding technique, as they say, in education, to make sure that we're addressing each company's level of where they're at. And we're a firm believer that diversity really increases innovation. And so we have diversity both in backgrounds and in the level of where the company is at as part of this program. And here's more information. If you want to apply, please do. They're already starting, like I said, humanbulb.org/accelerator. And there are 2 different cohorts. Both have the Startup World Cup incorporated into them. But this one that we're starting now is the week of July 15th. And thank you. That might have been too long, but appreciate the time.
So,
Oh no, that was just packed with great information. I think that pretty much anyone who wants to go and apply through HumanBulb, go to the Startup World Cup, needed to know that you're going to kind of be supporting them through that. Because one thing that stood out that you had mentioned before is you're at the ice blocks and you're like, come and sit with us, and spend time with us for the entire week. I don't know if that's quite, hey, we got you an office space, but entrepreneurs are usually looking for places where they can do work outside of, maybe the home or the coffee shop.
Yeah.
So if that's one thing, I think that's, a great deal of support. Gary, do you have a lead off question or?
yeah, do you ever sleep?
Not really, no. Well, actually, I do sleep, but I don't actually have any hobbies or free time. This is my hobby. Always has been. So I got an issue with that, but it is what makes me like this right here. HumanBulb is my dream. It's everything in my career that I've kind of been putting together and storing in my head for 20 years of this is how we should do this.
Well,
So
it's fabulous, and it opens such a doorway here in Sacramento to play on a bigger stage. I mean, this is something we really need, and it's just an incredible connection you're offering here. And I'm taking away that, I mean, I understand the scope of the grant that you got from the city, but as you said, if you've got a really good idea, apply. It's not really that confined in terms of topical area. So that really opens the door. And there's so much that can come out of that. Now, you said there have been 2 winners in the past from doing these programs in Sacramento. Who were they?
So Joppa, the parking app, was the first one. And then why did I just draw a blank? Chuck with Chuck with the
the water tube.
Yes.
Yeah.
Electroscan.
Oh my
Sorry.
God. Why am I now that you're blanking on it, I'm blanking on it
Well,
too, but it's
did you say Electroscan or
Chuck Hansen
Yeah, Chuck Hansen of Electroscan.
Yeah, Chuck Hansen.
Yeah, no, we love both of those companies.
Yeah.
I didn't know that they were involved in HumanBulb, but I'm so glad they are, because that's really putting them on a bigger stage. So, wow.
Yeah, and Matthew Magno of JAP was actually one of our board members. So
Oh, really?
Oh, excellent.
Yeah, he founded the Plasma, the accelerator program at
Right.
UC too.
Right.
So
No, we love Matthew, and I think he's going very well. But there are many more.
So when we talk to, there's a handful of presentations we like to share with entrepreneurs for them to look at as good examples. And one of them is Japa. So, entrepreneurs out there, if you really like Japas, check out HumanBulb on that. Now, one thing is, You put up a lot of stuff there that, might be a little, intimidating, maybe someone who hasn't quite fleshed out their idea. If someone's, they're like, I think I have something, I'm not sure, but I want to, engage. How should they do that with you?
So, well, they can either email me directly, charlotte@humanbulb.org, or just fill out the application. There are two different ones. So one is for someone just kind of starting, and it's really basic information, phone address kind of thing. And then we're going to be meeting because we aren't just picking companies off of, like I said, we're looking for those characteristics in the founders. That's almost as important to us as the idea, to be honest. And
Tenacity,
so
resiliency, coachability, and what was the last one?
Curiosity.
Curiosity. All
curiosity.
right.
Yeah, because we need someone we need people who are ready to sort of have their minds expanded, and then we help them sort of bring back to what they're doing and more focused. So we're expecting quite a number of people who just have a bunch of vague ideas. And I always think that it's very funny when we have that, because we've done things with developer groups as well. And they're like, well, and I'm saying, like, why haven't you started a startup? And they're like, well, I don't really have an idea. And then you press them a little bit more. And I'm like, I'm sure you have ideas. Well, actually, I do have a notebook, but I don't know which one would be any good. Like, I don't know. And I'm like, that's exactly who we want. Because we will help them figure out which is a great idea to go with. And a lot of that is, obviously we can't have industry expertise and everything, but I know where to connect. I know where to look. It's kind of my thing that I do, strategizing. And so having them knowing sort of the general things of what they're doing, and we will as a team be deep diving in each area that we get a startup to look at, to sort of make sure we're pointing them in the right directions for the ideas, and getting a full sort of global market overview of what's happening in those areas, and then using sort of best practices and evaluating what is a scalable startup. And so sometimes, a lot of times the founders, like, the basic idea there is great. And then, but you have to pair it up right with the business model and make sure everything is kind of chugging along. So anyone who's like creative, intelligent, thinking, and sort of has any idea, we'll really want to help them refine it and turn it into a company. That's the part that we know how to do, not the tech, but that's sort of their idea and their concept. But we want them to help guide them through the process of figuring out what is the most marketable part of what they're doing. How do they create this? So, and yeah, so for all of those people who have a little notepad or notes on their phone about, oh, that'd be a cool idea. It really might be. It might be the next huge company. It might be the next Zoom.
You never know. So you mentioned the ice block building, and did I understand you're going to be on site there talking with people for a week, and that's the first week in June?
So we're going to be there through the whole program. So that is where our sessions are going to be held. We have an office space there, so we will have them. People can come in and we'll do all of our mentorship and sort of coaching and things there. We're also doing things. We have a hybrid as well, and the reason I put that in there is, other than the people who are already really started with their companies and working full-time, everybody else is working at a job full-time. So we will be holding sessions on evenings and weekends. We're planning on, through this whole 10-week time period, we will be available every evening, every weekend, so that we'll just shift our working hours a bit to make it accommodate better. But so they'll be able to come in and we'll hold the sessions at different times. So one of the first things that we're doing with companies when we select them is say, okay, what times are you not available? And so if we have to run a program, if we say that there's an overlap where this session can't be run only once, we don't want them to miss it. So we would run it more than once. We'd record it. We'd do different ways of doing it. We'd let, even though we prefer everyone in person for that sort of dynamic, we know there are times that won't work. And then we'll do sort of hybrid versions of it as well.
So are you available for coaching in this application period as well, or you'll just be on site when the program starts July 15th?
So we are. So that is part of why we're asking for our application sort of as soon as possible, because we want to sort of see who we can really put into this and kind of get to know those new founders. And again, at this point, we're not expecting them to have a perfect idea. And some of them just really know that they want to start something. And we've seen some who are just so eager and don't quite have the idea. And it's like, okay, well, that is the first key ingredient right there, is that they're willing to kind of learn and keep coming and doing everything. So we will be sort of setting up appointments and doing things all throughout June, so we can really have them come in and sit down and talk to us. And if we see any spark there, we're going to kind of keep delving into it and sort of see if they're an appropriate kind of candidate or ready for that point of it, if they sort of fit into what we're doing. But yeah, our goal is really to encourage anyone who wants to be an entrepreneur to be a successful entrepreneur. So
you have one event on calendar, this thing on June 6th. Why don't you speak a bit about that?
yeah, so we've actually been doing this series starting in February, and we do it every 3 weeks. And so we've had a bunch of different speakers on different topics, from AI to mobility to food and beverage manufacturing. We've had everything. We had just last night, we had Orville Thomas from the California Mobility Center. He was a speaker. Thomas was there. Thank you for coming, Thomas. And he was kind of giving a full overview of what's going on in the city and the state and so forth. And our event on June 6th is focused specifically on clean tech, and that will be with you as a speaker. And I forgot what the other guest was called, but the idea behind that is these are events that have been focused on we fill the room with STEM professionals. Basically, we've been focused on diverse STEM professionals and done a lot of outreach to people who are not already in the startup ecosystem, and trying to say there are entrepreneurial opportunities here that you may not have thought of. And so the idea is to get a bunch of smart STEM people together in a room to hear great speakers and get the expertise from them, to really have the mind start going and create ideas out of that. And so we have gotten some applicants and things through that process. And it's people who are right now completely outside of the startup ecosystem. And that has been our goal throughout this program. And we committed to having at least 50% of the accelerator participants be from diverse backgrounds. So women, people of color, LGBTQ. We've been working with refugees as well as part of this process. They've gotten some through there. And so we have focused both on STEM professionals and non-STEM professionals, because we want to make sure low and moderate income communities of color have a chance at this too. And we've met some amazing people who are who we know we've just sort of started introducing technology tools, and their backgrounds and their ideas are just amazing, who would normally not be part of something like this, who we've found a whole group of them already that we're like, okay, this is we're trying to prove that this can work, that the Sacramento ecosystem can be fully equity can be a huge part of the growth, and needs to be, in order for the system to really flourish. So we're have tons of different on-ramps into entrepreneurship here. And so we've strategically set out what we're trying to do with each of them and how we feel like we can reach those groups the best. And obviously we're fine-tuning it as you go. And so the event on June 6th is part of this program, where we're specifically targeting STEM professionals and getting them to move into entrepreneurship. And for them, obviously, it's not technical skills training. They have that. It's sort of getting the minds first, get them sort of familiar with what's going on in Sacramento, but also getting ideas to flourish through those conversations. We have them very interactive. The audience engages with the speakers, and so there's a lot of sort of collaboration and thinking happening through this.
Well, you must have an incredible network then of potential equity investors that are looking for just this sort of product. And the fact that you've been doing it so long, you've obviously got a reputation and a credibility. So again, that's another thing that we have lacked here, is the connection to equity investors across the nation, even across the world, that, may be a good match. So, I mean, that's just another great advantage you've got here. Now, do you have people here permanently in Sacramento, or are everybody going back and forth and showing up every 3 weeks for one of these sessions?
So, like our our team itself is small and we're all here full time. And then we're just flying to different places to do things.
Oh, so are you
Sure.
based in
Yes.
Sacramento?
Yes,
Oh.
absolutely.
Oh, I
And
thought you were in the Bay Area.
no, so I actually I went to college and law school in the Bay Area. Moved here in 2001, but all of my work was in the Bay Area. And then over COVID, right before COVID and a few years after, we moved there a little after the empty nest syndrome happened. And then we came back home though. Realized actually, nah, we're good here. We liked it better over here.
Well,
Back and
I can second that. I've flown around to do client work all over the world, but
yeah.
at the end of the day, I'd just rather stay here.
Yeah, it feels like home, and it is home. It's just,
it is home.
And I had the great advantage of, my kids both did really well in life, and my son's in tech at Nissan's Innovation Center doing all the latest work on mobility and stuff. And so he was out of the Bay Area, out of their Silicon Valley Innovation Center over there, and COVID happened and nobody needs to be in person anymore. So he lives in Midtown now. My daughter left and she was in Texas for a while, master's in education from Johns Hopkins, and was doing a bunch of things there. And then she came back too. And so everyone's within a 10-minute radius right now. So they came back home too, which I really didn't think was going to be an option for
Perfect.
them.
Well, that's great. Thomas, do you have any other questions? Back to you.
So what's your vision for HumanBulb in Sacramento and the Sacramento region kind of in general?
Well, I mean, our focus, even though we're doing things in other areas, the reason we're doing things in other areas is primarily that so we can build Sacramento at this point, because this is, like I said, it's home, and this is where we want it to be. So long-term vision, or not even long-term, I'm talking within the next couple of years. When I say long-term, is actually to have this as the center of where international companies plant. We've been doing that in the Bay Area forever, and they've benefited so much from international founders, for example. And trying to really make Sacramento shine on the global stage so that people know it's here, and keep building locally here as well, so that we have more and more companies planting here that have really innovative ideas and become part of this ecosystem, and have it be their home at that point and stay here planted. My goal is not to sort of make the connections so that people leave the area. It's if we make more connections, they can stay here. Right. Is really the idea. It's the opposite of that. The more connections we have in Sacramento, the more of a hub we are connected to other regions, the more this spot itself becomes more and more important, and becomes a place where it's not that you just go through your early seed stuff and then you have to leave. It becomes, no, this is where you can grow as well. But you need those international connections and connections with other ecosystems throughout the US for that to happen. So that's part of it. That's part of it, bringing people from sort of outside in here, building up from sort of the people who are not connected to the ecosystem now, who are sort of left out of the green economy, in particular, the low to moderate income people of color. I want to show that innovation entrepreneurship works for everyone, and that's an area that can flourish. So I see Sacramento as being a city where innovation startups are thriving, startups from all different backgrounds are thriving, and that's what we become known for, the most diverse range of startups in terms of backgrounds in the country. That would be my goal or my dream, is to have this be the place where
very much a noble pursuit.
And I think we have a really good, shared vision in that. And one, let's get everyone connected and talking, because that's going to make people feel like Sacramento is home,
right.
A place where they can connect with the people that they need, where they can get the support they need to grow here. And with that, any last words, Gary?
No, really appreciate your time, Charlotte. I'm so impressed with what you're doing. Sacramento can only benefit by what's going on. So we look forward to collaborating with you more in the future. And I just can't believe all the stuff you've got going, but what an asset you will be here in the region. Thank you very much for joining us.
All right. And do you have any last words, Charlotte? Or Final thoughts?
Apply for the accelerator, whether you think you're qualified or not. Just talk to us.
I think that is an
definitely
outstanding call to
necessary.
action.
Yeah, please do.
So
Love
Human
to
Bulb,
talk to anyone.
what was that? HumanBulb.org
HumanBulb.org. Yeah.
/ accelerate.
Yes. Accelerator.
Yep.
But you
And
can
we're gonna
also
leave it at that. Follow
email
them
me.
on LinkedIn also. They're active there. Charlotte's there. She's a great person to follow and connect with, especially if you have more questions. And remember, next week, well, 9 days left, the Clean Tech Progress Report, supported by Human Bulb and Witten Law and Eco Alpha, along with our regular supporters. We also have AI and the Future of the Grid on June 27th, and on July 18th, we have a tentative Power Up networking event where we will be drinking wine and hopefully seeing Charlotte there again.
Yeah.
Thank you for attending. Thank you for the virtual people out there watching. Look forward. We're going to have more CleanStart Perspectives coming up. So stay tuned and make sure you give everyone a follow. Thanks.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. So we can turn off the recording. Yeah.